Starting your swing right is so important to make the rest of the swing work. Today I've got the best, and I mean this, the best 3 takeaway tips. Well, money can't buy because it's on YouTube obviously, but these things will seriously help your golf swing. Now guys, warm welcome to the channel if you are a brand new viewer. It'll all be revealed why I have a badminton racket in my hand very soon. If you are brand new to Alex Elliott Golf, guys, please do consider 2 things, okay? 2 things. Hitting that big red subscribe button, that one that's down there. I'd love for you to be part of this channel and part of this family. And obviously, at any point, if you are enjoying this content, please do consider hitting that thumbs up button. Now, before we get started, Major Championships will soon be around the corner. Masters in November, we've got the Ryder Cup, which is a great spectacle. But will they go ahead? I want you to comment down below. 1, will they go ahead? And 2, what will they be like with potentially no fans? I know last week at the Charles Schwab we had no fans, and, well, I don't know, it was very strange for me watching it on TV. But what do you think about the Major Championships coming up? So, let's get into the first takeaway tip. First off, this badminton racket is ultimately going to be our club face and these strings. A lot of people get this wrong. In the takeaway, we're looking for 3 things: width, control of a club face, and start to initiate our turn. And all these things have to happen. So, I like to work on the first port of call is get this club face under control to begin with. So my feeling for this is, at the first parallel, can I get the club head just outside my hands and the strings of the badminton racket to the ground? Now, obviously, it's easier to see when we have this in our hand, which is a great way to learn to control your club face, because straight away, I can see this face opens, I can see if it's too closed. But the analogy that I like to use is, I like to feel like this triangle on my upper half starts to initiate this takeaway, and the logo of my glove works towards the ground. Now, as you can see here, club head just outside the hands, logo of my glove to the ground, the upper half has initiated the takeaway. So I've really started to take this takeaway from what would probably feel for most people a handsy move to what more feels like the hands are very, very quiet up to this point. And I like to think in the whole golf swing, the quieter we can have our hands up to hip height and down to hip height on the way through, the more control we've got of this club face. And setting it off strong is the first tip. So first tip, can we feel it's more of an upper body move and this logo is to the ground? Now time to give this an absolute rip down the fairway. This will feel for a lot of you players that this club face is in a much stronger position and potentially you could hit left to begin with. But for most people, that's potentially not a bad thing. Okay, so waggle it, hit it away. Right, let's get on to tip number 2 and how actually we can feel that little bit more width in the golf swing. Now, during that takeaway, if we can create some nice width, and you look at the top players in the world, and I think of this as Rory McIlroy, at this point he has some ridiculous width. This is my favourite drill to do this. So we're going to get our lead hand on top of the golf club. We're going to place our trail hand on our lead shoulder. And all I want you to feel is that this swing is initiated through this left arm. So you can see here, if I was to bend this arm, this wouldn't be a very wide takeaway. All I'm trying to feel is up to first parallel, where this arm is parallel to the ground. Can this upper half dominate the takeaway? And then the lower half gets synced in. As you can see here, this is super wide. I can't get this any wider. And the club feels quite heavy now because obviously I've only got one hand on the club. But if I can do this with one hand on the club, feeling that turn, this is a great way to get the whole golf swing moving. I'm still linking that first point of logo to the ground, but essentially, by moving it with one hand, all I've got to do is actually make sure this body moves. For me to move this golf club without moving the body, these hands would get closer to the body and I couldn't create width. And that is some serious width on the way back there. You could hear the strain in my voice. And that is something I would actually recommend you doing at home, start of a training session. Right, we've got some serious width. Let's give it some serious speed. So have it on there, feel it, waggle it with 2 hands, feel that serious width. Wow. That was absolutely smoked. Right, final tip, let's get into this one now. So far we've talked about how we can control the club face. point number one. Second point, how we can get a little bit more width. And if you think about it, those first two moves actually are the same drill. So you could do them all in one go. The final move is something that I think is a little bit more realistic to take to the golf course, in the sense that if we start this golf swing with a better turn on the other half, which the shoulders work more on plane, not start to level out, then this is a great way to create speed, create control, and potentially stop the over the top move. So you can see how important that takeaway was. And I just want to say, guys, that was that last shot. Don't usually find that middle, but I did on that one, which is a nice feeling. Okay, so let's jump to the down the line perspective and talk through what I want you to feel with this left shoulder. Final move. What I want you to feel here is we've got to start this takeaway with the left shoulder working underneath the chin. I don't want you to feel like the left shoulder gets level. And if we can do this, this hits all 3 points. Watch this. The logo to the ground, left shoulder underneath, nice and wide. So look at this takeaway now. We don't have the leveling motion. Left shoulder under, brings it all in. So my final point for you is, can you feel as though we work this takeaway more with the shoulders on plane, not with them leveling out and changing angles? Because that's going to keep everything, the body, the arms, all more synced up. You now have the tools to control the club face, create some width, which means some serious speed, and number two, sync up the body. Don't let it level out. Feel that the left shoulder works under. Right, without further ado, let me just get that feeling. There we go. Wow. All I have to say, make sure you do that, and this one is a rare occurrence for me. No, I'm joking, I do sometimes in the middle. Right, let's get to the final part of this video where we talk about all your questions. And guys, if you do have any questions about your golf game, no matter if you think there may be a silly question, there's no silly questions here, please comment them down below, because tonight we're going to pull out 3 comments from the past few days. First up, we have Ashik Chowdhury from this week's Training Tuesday, and this is the single greatest golf drill we should all do, and I'll leave the link at the end of the video just up here for you to check that out. He said, excellent video, another great example of how to practice with purpose. I've been practicing 30% and playing 70%. Thanks again for your awesome tips. No, thank you so much for your awesome support. The next one, and this is the one I really love. This comes from Mark Griffiths on the string drill, and this was Miracle Monday's video. Love this drill. Ball striking feels so much stronger after 10 or 15 balls on the mat of just doing this. Now, if you can change your strike, change the way you hit the golf ball in 10 to 15 balls, that literally is a miracle, hence why it was this week's Miracle Monday. Another one, the best pitching technique for 50-yard drill. And if you think about it, the top players in the world do this. They're all good inside 50 yards. And Moldog88 commented on here, great video, always great stuff, Alex. Thank you so much for the great content. Guys, no, thank you so much for the great support. This is this week's Friday fix. So we've fixed your takeaway. And you think about all the top players in the world, they have a perfect takeaway. They have great control, they have width, they have speed, they have turn. All these things are so important to creating great golf swings. Guys, thank you so much for being with me on this week's Friday Fix. Have a great weekend, most importantly. Also join us for Short Game Saturday, which is a fantastic one this week, even if I do say so myself. Also, before you leave, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd love for you to join this family.